Hello scientists, we're going to go over a few questions for the Unit 1 test so that you can review and be ready to take the test. Here we go. Just to be clear, you may not use anything on the test or quiz. No notes, no websites, no people. You don't need a calculator for this test. Let's think about one metric base. Can you think of something that you put behind the metric prefix? Here are some ideas. Liter, gram, meter. What's a metric prefix? What goes before the base unit? What tells you how much of the unit? If you said giga, mega, kilo, meter, milli, micro, or pico, you are correct. Don't worry, you don't have to know the metric staircase. In physical science class, what does that mean we are going to study? All types of science, rocks and minerals, cells, matter and energy, or the environment? If you guessed matter and energy, you are correct. The metric unit for length is what? I bet you know that it's a meter. But which one is the English unit of length? Hopefully you know it's the yard. The metric unit for volume is how we buy soda, or at least how some of us buy soda, if we buy soda at all, which I don't. If you guessed liter, because that was a 2-liter bottle, you're absolutely correct. In the English system, we measure volume of liquids often in ounces, like a 12-ounce pop can here, or pints, or quarts, or gallons. It's kind of a crazy system, so that's why we don't do the English system in science. The metric unit for mass is, I hope you remember, it's grams. Metric unit of mass is grams. The English unit of mass, you've probably weighed yourself, and actually weight is different than mass, but in the English system they don't differentiate. Here is the pound. It's the British pound note, to be exact. The metric unit for temperature, you can see right on the slide here, degrees Celsius. In the English unit, of course, we use Fahrenheit. The cubic centimeter is also a milliliter. Cubic centimeter and milliliter are the same thing, and they both measure volume, as you might guess with this picture of syringes. So here are the milliliters on a measuring cup, and you can see 250 milliliters and 1 cup are not equivalent, but similar. So see if you can mentally match the tool to the unit. What is a meter going to be measured with? What is a liter going to be measured with? Or a gram, or degrees Celsius? If you guessed here, you are correct. What is the Celsius temperature scale based on? Here's a hint right here. There's actually 2 things it's based on, which kind of gives away the answer. It's both C and D, the boiling temperature of water, which is 100 degrees Celsius, and the freezing temperature of water, which is 0 degrees Celsius. Freezing and boiling are both what kinds of changes? Are they physical changes or chemical changes? Do they change the actual chemical structure of the molecules, or do they just change the phase, the solid, liquid, gas, plasma? If you said phase changes, you're correct. Or physical changes, they're not chemical changes. If water freezes, it's still water. Circle the fundamental units of the metric system. Well, this is an indirect measurement, but it's fundamental. Meters is fundamental. Liters is not fundamental, it's derived, because you can get liters from meters. Grams and seconds. The ability to do work is energy. I put the energy drinks in there for you. Might be better actually to drink orange juice than all that sugary energy drink. When do you make a hypothesis? After you've identified the question and made observations, after you've done the experiment, after you've gathered the data, or any time during or after the experiment because you want your hypothesis to be supported. Well, most scientists do the steps in order, but a lot of people also just don't do all of the scientific method steps in order. Usually, though, people go into an experiment with a hypothesis. So they ask some questions, maybe they made some initial observations or collected a little bit of data that helps them make a hypothesis, and then they go do their experiment and collect more data. In an experiment, which variable do you change or control? Well, this one's easy to remember because I change it. So it starts with I. It's an independent variable before you do the experiment. And I choose the x-axis because that's where you put the independent variable. I and x are next to each other in axis. So I choose the x-axis. Something to remember. So I change the variable in the independent variable in an experiment. In our drop height experiment, drop height versus bounce height, we chose the drop height before we bounced the ball. Drop height is the independent variable. The independent variable is always on the x-axis of the graph, the horizontal axis. If you need to remember the difference between x and y, shrug your shoulders like this, and remember y is up and down. What's the difference between the left and right graph? Well, what's going on with this line here? Does it look different in each of them? There's a different trend going on here in each of those graphs. Here's kind of an exponential trend, and this is linear. So see if you can type one thing you know, or just write it down. Write a couple things down as a review of what you've just watched. Hey, don't go yet. A lot of people have a difficult time figuring out why liter is a derived unit. Here's a liter box. It's a box that can fit 1,000 of these little cubes. Each of these cubes is a milliliter or a cubic centimeter. I'll show you on a ruler here. These are a cubic centimeter. 1 centimeter by 1 centimeter by 1 centimeter. And we could fit 1,000 of these in this box, that is 10 centimeters by 10 centimeters by 10 centimeters. And it will hold, if I put water in this box, that's 10 by 10 by 10, it's a cube, that's 10 by 10 by 10 centimeters, 10 times 10 times 10 is 1,000. And that's 1,000 milliliters. If I filled this, it would fill this water bottle here. And you can see, this one's a little bit beat up, but it has 1,000 milliliters right there. So this box would fill this bottle to right here. And you can see, if you're familiar with a quart jar, some of you, like your mom or grandma, might make pickles, or maybe your dad makes pickles. These are about the same size. A liter and a quart are similar. Not the same, but similar. So that's why a liter is a derived and not a fundamental unit of the metric system. Thanks for watching, everybody. Good luck on the test.